Good morning, coming at you bright and early this morning, and check these lights out. The previous owner put these in and they are like stadium lights. And I kind of like them. At first I wasn't sure how I felt about them. They're kind of too bright, but now I feel like they're kind of like an added security feature because, you know, someone's not really going to creep around a really well illuminated house. At least that's my thinking. But anyways, we're going to be doing a really small project. We're going to be installing some handrails or some railing on some kind of faux balcony. Honestly, I don't really even know, but we're going to go knock that out this morning, and then we're going to come back to the shop and do our first ever project right here in the shop. Should be pretty exciting, so I'm excited about it. Just stopped at Starbucks and got this little girly drink, and this one is actually pretty close to where I think this is where they practice the basketball over here. Something with the Dallas Stars or something like that, but pretty cool. Pulling up to the house right now, and you can see up there on that balcony there's no railing, so that's what we're gonna try to accomplish today. All right, let's see what we're working with here. This is something from Intex Millwork Solutions. Okay, so this is the newel post. Should probably put the knife down while I'm pulling on boxes. What is this? The heck? Now we gotta take everything right there. We're gonna come through that window. All right, check out the view from up here. Pretty nice. So yeah, here's the post. We previously installed these. These I think are made from the same company who makes the railings that we just unboxed, and it's like a PVC material or something. So we got pretty much everything up here that we're gonna need for this install, I think. We'll see. But first thing we gotta do is attach that post right there in between this post and this post, because they don't make one of these rails that spans this distance. So we have this kind of mid post to help support. Yeah. It should be, yeah. So in theory, I should have a perfect little box right here that kind of replicates the bottom of that newel post. All right, so we got our post right here installed and plumbed up, so it's good. And then this thing is kind of too wide to really get a strong, you know, snug fit around there. So they give you these little spacers and they kind of square it up and they just lock on each side. And that spaces it out perfectly for the inside. So then we can drop this on. And you can already hear it and see it. It's a lot more snug. This is our little base cap, and this is our top cap. And if this is good, we're gonna go ahead and adhesive this whole thing together. But first, we want to make sure that before we actually do that, they were pretty well centered with the whole house. So we're gonna go down and check it out. Oh yeah, that looks really good. You see it right in the middle of the, so there's the post we just installed, that little tiny thing right there. and you can see walking in through the sidewalk, you got kind of all these straight lines. So you got the straight lines between the two doors, then you got that little bracket right there, that little corbel, and then our post is right on top of that, and then it goes up to that window. So I think we're good to go ahead and install that thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how we go about doing the rail system on this little section right here. And once we show you this, all the other sections are the same. We actually already did one on the other end, but I didn't really talk much about it because this is our first time doing this, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but it's honestly not that hard. They give you the instructions, they give you all the hardware. Once you figure out how the system kind of links together and how it works, it's pretty basic. So we've got these pieces right here. These are the rails. You got one on top and one on bottom, and it's this aluminum extrusion that slides inside of this piece of PVC. So that is basically the top rail and then your top handrail, but then the handrail gets another cap. You'll see that here in a second. But yeah, this is basically our material. And then obviously our little decorative sections right here that go in, those go there, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get started on this, and we're probably going to be here a lot later than I expected because I was under the impression that these things were already built and we just have to screw them in. So hey, that's what I get for not coming out and looking at it. I just kind of said, hey, we'll do it. So it's really not that hard though. It's just going to take quite a bit longer. So anyways, yeah, I've got these marked right here in the middle. So, you know, we're treating this as one section right here in the middle, and then this as another portion. And I've got that marked for our hardware. So what I need to do, I need to measure from there, because that's exactly where the top of our rail, bottom rail, is going to be. We'll go 99.5 on that one. Cutting this thing at 99.5, I can cut this section as one, this PVC section, but this aluminum section that goes inside of it, I need to back it off 1/4 of an inch, because the way the hardware works, it's got like 1/8 on each side. So instead of 99.5, I'll go 99.25, and that should be enough room for that. So on the end of this extrusion right here, you can see there's like 4 holes right here, and those are actually for this bracket. So this will go on like this, and those are kind of countersink machined holes, so it'll hide the head of the screw. So I just need to screw those into the extrusion right there. I'm so glad they gave us square drive for all these. So now that we've got this little bracket screwed onto the end of our extrusion, you can see there's 2 extra holes. Those are actually the locations where our screws will go in through our post. And this is also the reason we back off 1/4 of an inch, because that little bracket, like I was talking about earlier, is 1/8 thick. So 1/8 on each side equals that 1/4. So now when I slide this together, it should sit flush on both sides. Yes, sir. So I'm going to set the aluminum aside for a second. Then I can get this one in place. And it should be a snug enough fit where it can hold by itself. Yeah, like that. Just like that. So now I can take my little laser here. So when I space these out, I'm not spacing them just off this bottom rail here, I'm spacing them from post to post. So I got 102. Let me double check that. Yeah, 102. It's like 101.98. This thing's like to the thousandth of an inch or whatever. So we're gonna call that 102. And then to space that, I take 102. I know I'm gonna fit 3 of these here. So it'll be 1, 2, 3. So I take this right here. It's very much like wainscot. So this is 29 3/4. So what I need to do is 29 3/4 times 3, subtracted from 102, and then divided by 4, because I have 4 spaces left in between these after that. So I've got everything marked on my PVC piece. I'm just dropping my aluminum piece back in, making sure it's flush on both ends. And then I just need to drill on the inside of that line. So my lines basically represent the outer spacing of the decorative panel between each one. So I need to go on the inside, not the outside of that line. That's going to be very important for these things to line up. So now we know we're going to be screwing into this dead on where we need to be, but we also need to square it up this way, or center it rather, I guess I should say. I've got a tool right here that's going to center this. It's this Craig Multimark, and if I hold this on each side, it's going to center our little decorative panel. So our decorative panel is 1.25 inches right there, and right there. That right there is 1.25 inches thick. So this will center it. I can start with this center one. Just make sure I'm flush over here. Get right on my pencil line. Get my little offset tool. And then I screw down right in those holes I just drilled. And this should be good to go right here. So now that I've got my 2 outers screwed in, and you can see they're evenly spaced, what I need to do is go ahead and flip this upside down again, and you can see I have a spot here where I could drive one more screw. So this one, I can just eyeball it once those are in, and I can just pre-drill my aluminum. So we've already got our marks center lines on our 2 posts. So we're gonna flip this thing just like this, and we're gonna flex it into place, and it's gonna kind of sag down in the middle a little bit, but that's completely fine, because we're gonna bring the middle up when we do our top rail and level it up. Yeah, that's it right there. My first Stabila level. Freaking awesome. So here's a little look at how we're shimming this thing up. We're just using these little blocks they gave us in this little plastic shim that has little increments. And we just shim it up in the middle and make sure everything is nice and straight across. And we just got to center our top rail now. So since I have a center line right here, you can see it on that post right there. All I have to do is line up that center line with this center line in this extrusion, and then just drive my 2 screws in right there. Boom. So I'll just kind of hold it in place while I screw this in, make sure it doesn't wander. Good to go. This one needs a little bit of flexing. Good to go. And just head on down the line like this. You can see we have a nice clean reveal all the way across, and we can check it with this thing. So our little top cap will just pop in. I'm just going to remeasure for that. So we just screwed into that, so our top rail comes on, and this will actually just pop on and snap in like that. kind of click in right over here, over this edge. Dang, that's nice.
The lights on, the dormer actually lights up.
All right, guys, there you have it. We are done. And we started this video, it was dark in the morning. Now it's getting dark in the evening. Way longer than I thought it would take, but once we got the hang of it, it went pretty quick, and we figured it out. So it's a good, solid install up there, and you never know how long these jobs are gonna take. So, you know, thinking of a price like this, I usually just tell people 5 grand will do it. So, you know, I usually don't even get out of bed if it's less than 5 grand, to be honest with you. But check it out, that looks awesome. Then it's got the gas lanterns too. Just looks like a nice, charming house. That adds some geometry to it with the railing. That's cool. So another one down, and we'll be back at the shop tomorrow.